All right. Hello, friends and fellow gamers. I am that Zero, and we are back with episode 3 of Capray's Last Cloudia podcast. And I am joined by my co-host. We have DK
What's going on, guys?
and Jawline Coon.
What's up, guys?
Hey, I appreciate everybody's patience. We had to have a little bit of a bye week. I had some family issues last week, but we are back, and we have a hell of a lot to talk about, don't we? We since the last podcast, we had got the news dropped of the collab, and now we've been able to consume it for 2 weeks. We've got 3 new units. We've got 4 new arcs. I mean, this is a meaty collab, especially compared to the FMA one, which was pretty light, aside from just getting some really awesome tools. So, yeah. How about we go ahead and start real quick with some of the free stuff? How do you guys feel about the SR, LR, and 9S that we got for free?
Jawline, I always go first. You go first, man.
Oh,
Have you played with 9S much?
me?
Not really. No?
I mean, from when he was announced, they were saying that he was like, really good. I guess I don't know. He just seems really underwhelming. His S1, it can apply, those debuffs, but I don't know. I don't feel nothing amazing from him. He's a free unit.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for him being free, he's better than Al. So he's got that going for him because he can, do more for the. I don't want to say more, but I feel like he does. I feel like he does more.
Mm-hmm.
So my stance on 9S is he's a free unit. For me, it's just level 100. So all that EXP and then the gems. As for the Arks, the SR, I don't know, nothing special. It's got some interesting quirks. The LR, again, nothing special. It's got some interesting quirks. So overall, the free stuff, in my opinion, it's just free stuff. That's it.
Cool. Yeah, my take on 9S, I have to play with him a little bit more, but I've seen some things that he can do that are good, but I do think that they spread him very wide instead of focusing him as they should. So people were like, oh, it's going to be free to play V. Yeah, kinda, but I think he's a little closer to if you made Logia like a pseudo support and didn't do as much damage, which actually I have seen some people actually doing some pretty incredible damage with S9, taking him into the like Find Theria fight on God mode and just like chewing through the boss with like an ideal setup just because you can animation cancel like his S2 and then his S3 happens like instantaneously, so like his burst damage can be there, but like the amount of work you have to put in for that is not really great. I think it's just more so for showmanship, His autos seem pretty okay, considering he comes with researches. So as a free unit to just go and be able to enable Terramelth comps, and then also having like you can build him so his autos get like okay Goddess Kiss procs back. Like I could get, I think I was getting at least 30 or 40 each with one of my initial builds that I had for him. So if you do something like Elder Mask on him and just run him as a support in the background, you could potentially throw some debuff support, maybe some God Heal stuff, and just have him going constantly autoing things. And I think for people that don't have a good support, he fills in that blank really well. So it makes it really, really nice for new players coming in. We don't have to say, okay, it's mandatory to roll for Theria. Like, it kind of is, but you can totally skip because you automatically have a support already when you start right now, which is super cool. But in general, yeah, I'm underwhelmed, but I also haven't given him a fair amount of time, so. DK, anything to add on that front before we go to Arks?
No. Yeah. Actually, I've actually have him to level 100. I've actually put a little bit of time into him. I really have. I've have him at 92 SC. As far as what I've honestly, just built him. You can actually really easily reach damage cap with a couple of percentage boosts. Dark High Drive. Terra Melt does a lot for it already, and it's free in the kit. But yeah, he is just like a little bit lower version of what V, a little bit lower version of what V was, and kind of like a mix of Logia as well. You can definitely see why they made him free. As far as I do understand, I do get what you're saying. I do kind of agree. It is spread a little thin. You fill up that 92. I've had filled up 92 pretty quickly. which I feel like what was very little. Because someone getting a unit that's weakness to stun is very can be polarizing really. So making sure that he has stun nil, even with stun nil, he kind of only hits stun resist. So you have to actually apply more in cases where there's like a fight where he can't get stunned. Um,
Sure.
like a lot of my stuff's going towards that, to where I have little room for like slayers and stuff like that. So I guess you kind of just, if you don't have
Yeah.
a debuffer slash ailment, you don't have Logi, you don't have V, then I think he fits in as a good unit for most players. But as a free, yeah, I definitely think he was better than Al. Like you said about his S2, the canceling is really really fun. It's actually really cool too. I don't know. I actually enjoyed the unit. Of course, I don't use him daily like the way I'm using my other ones right now, but he definitely brought a little bit of fun to the table, along with the level 100. You get the gems at level 100, which is really nice. I probably won't enhance 5 him. He probably will sit on the back burner for that, as it's not really necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But I most likely will keep Meta Awaken 4, Enhanced 4, and I keep Meta 108 ability board until I feel like I absolutely need use for him, because mats are a little scary right now.
Mm-hmm.
To get, so you kind of have to pick and choose on which unit you want to do first. But overall, I would rate the character like a 7 out of 10, just for like fun factor, design, and stuff like that, because I do like the close combat, and the S2 is a lot of fun. Kind of reminds me of Alice's, I think was there S3 that does that?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, S2 that does it, I think. Can't
Cool.
remember.
Have you guys tried using his S2 in the occult fight?
No, I have not.
No, I have not taken him into.
It does not hit. It does not hit. It really does not. I've used it so many times. It does not hit. The hits don't register.
Oh,
Like
weird.
none of it.
None of it hits.
Oh, that's so
Lots
goofy.
did.
I wonder
Yeah,
if
I
I
don't-
wonder if Alice's rockets work.
I have no idea why. But, I mean, I've used it a number of times, but the
Maybe
hits
the
don't
hitbox
land
needs
at
to be
all.
adjusted. I would say probably the hitbox needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
Because, that's actually interesting. I wonder how high the rockets actually go, because we have like the anti-air.
It goes super
like,
low.
Really?
Like they go low and they still don't hit. So I don't know what they did on their part, but his S2 does not hit.
That is really interesting. I'm surprised you took
Yeah.
that in there.
I just
I'm gonna-
wanted to share. I thought it was interesting.
Right.
Yeah, that's super weird. It's fun to point out. Just want to say real quick, Sky, thanks for letting me know about the overlay in chat. So got that all fixed up. They're also saying that 9S in general, one of the things they like about him is he's not really weapon locked. I would say, yeah, it's definitely nice just because we can go in and throw on a claw or a sword or whatever you happen to need for a fight, cactus hammer, whatever.
Cleave.
But yeah, Venacleave. So like whether you're going for
Venom
damage,
for sure.
yeah, whether you're going for like damage or support, if you want damage, I think Venacleave and possibly the probably the Fiend Horn for the other one is probably
Exactly what I have
his
on him.
best too. So like if you're going for DPS and like Goddess Kiss stuff, that's probably where it's at, I would think. For support, probably Cactus Hammer and the Emil Mask Claw, whatever it's called, the new thing from the Ark.
Oh yeah.
So, which is a good transition over to our free arcs. Boom, segues. Nailed it. All right. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Emil Shop and what is good or not so good about that in particular. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up on my stream as well.
Yeah, same here.
I see that my share
Oh
with you
my.
guys goes away whenever I'm not in Discord, which is kind of annoying, I think.
Is it bad? I don't even have my Emil head up yet. It's still at level 2. That's terrible. I didn't even realize
Wow.
that. That's terrible. I
Wait.
know.
Are we looking at Emil Shop or Emil?
Yeah, so I've got Emil Shop right now here. I'll switch back over to Discord so you guys can see.
I did a Emil shop. Emil shop was at 10. I went ahead and
Yeah,
took it back.
it was interesting that LRs drop significantly more than SRs. At least that was my experience with the
Yep.
Mine
stuff.
is the complete opposite, actually. I've only dropped 1 LR out of like 10 of those. It's kind of weird. I'm not happy
Really?
about- Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah, I think I had this probably like, I don't know, at least 50%. Or well, no, never mind. Ignore me. I don't remember exactly what my stuff was, but I was getting at least double of the LR minimum, probably
Wow.
more. I had multiple
Yeah,
times where I had 2 LRs in the same pull, and SRs just didn't happen that often. I might get 1 in every 10 pulls
Wow.
of the SR for me. So, all right. So let's talk about some of this different stuff. So whenever I click away, is that going away for you guys? Like, did my stream stop? Or can you see my...
No. I can still see it.
You can see it? Okay, cool. On my end, it's not there, but okay, cool. So, skills. Accelerate rapid recovery. We already have access to those, so it's not really that big of a deal. High-speed shopkeep. I actually kind of love this skill. I haven't tested it thoroughly, but, like, if you only have... It's so often that you just have 1 SC to just not know what to do, and, like, 1% strength is not going to do much, you know? Fast magic circle is not going to do much, you know? So... I like that for some units, especially if you, like right now I just built A2 to go and auto farm in the desert, and AI is going to prioritize her S1 that, you know, requires her to move. So this could just get you to engagement slightly quicker. It feels like it's not a ton, probably a +1, maybe a +2, but it's probably just a +1. But for 1 SC, I'm down.
I put it on Yasha and went against Mont Blanc, and I think Yasha's almost up to speed with all like the speed boost.
Oh man.
it's pretty funny seeing him zoom around.
That's
but I think
awesome.
Mont Blanc is just super fast.
He is, yeah. It's
like we
stupid,
need more
fast.
speed boosts.
All right. So I'd just like to talk about these kind of shop items all as a whole. What are your guys' thought on this mechanic of, like, I like the concept of these being reusable items, like, oh hey, we have 0 charges of these, and then over time we get them, and you kind of need to keep going back, almost like you're checking a shopping game to see if their stock refreshed. You know, I think thematically it's really, really cool, but maybe a little bit different in actual application. But what has your guys' experience been?
In the small time that I've tested these 3 things, they're cool in theory, but actual application, there's just too much RNG for me to too much RNG to warrant using them. Like, it's like the skills themselves, yeah, they're pretty cool, but
yeah,
I don't know.
You like a sure thing.
I want it to be, hey, it's on a set timer, but no, these things vary. Like, I think the cure all, some people said that it took them a minute for it to apply. Me, it took 2 minutes.
I bet it take longer for some of these.
I don't.
To my knowledge, my understanding of it from like talking to people in Discord and then personal, just anecdotal evidence of minor testing is it seems like it's probably on a similar timer to like Berserk and High Regen, where like every 6 seconds it probably does a percentage chance to give you a stock. And I'm guessing it's probably only like 20%, because it is not very high. What I wish that it was is 2 changes would make this so much better, which is make it an accumulatingly high chance, so that like maybe at a 30 sec proc you're guaranteed to get it, so like you can reliably get it then, or maybe you get it earlier. And also on wave start you should just start with your first stock, so you can just use it right away, and then you have to wait for the shop to refresh, you know. So I feel like that would make them much more viable, but like for the amount that this costs, it's very weird. And it's also worth noting, I believe you can only use these on yourself, right?
Yeah, they're only self-cast.
Why would this cure silence and stun?
Yeah.
Literally not possible to do anything. Like, cool, way to give us some text, but like it doesn't do anything. It's not possible. You can't use it if you're silenced or stunned. So, yeah, I was very disappointed. I think they were onto something, but it just doesn't hit, and it's not worth the points in any of the builds that I've tried. It's neat when you can use them, but I've had it take like over 2 minutes to get the skill self one, because like I tried using it on A2, and yeah, it took forever. It was so ridiculous.
Yeah, you're waiting 2 minutes for a 15-second buff? Nah, no thank you.
This gives you increased chance of getting these, so maybe it bumps that 20% chance up to like a 40% chance, or even 50. Maybe it makes it much more reliable. I don't think that's worth running the Arc for, though. Continuous speed is kind of nice if you don't have fast speed, I guess, but I don't know if that's worth running an Arc. Probably not. For a support, possibly. Like, I could see this only kind of working on like 9S. Like, if you want him to go apply ailments, he has to go run up on people. So, like, giving him speed and then a bunch of defenses so he can take hits. Some survivability with restoring HP, because this is probably just the regen effect. A pretty good amount of MP. Like, this is clearly a melee support type thing, which is really niche. Right?
The cure-all is a full heal, 999.
Yeah, that's good.
9999 or whatever.
Yeah. So then he could potentially run these as well, and then maybe get some effect out of them since he's going to be doing other supporty stuff. But yeah. And then the big deal that's actually really incredible is Emil heads. I am so happy they put this in. So this is basically V's Kane reworked for anybody. So neutral damage, which is super great. Little bit of HP so that your support can kind of be a little tankier, and then your regular attacks have a chance to apply any of these. Now, my understanding of this effect is not that this turns on researches so that it becomes redundant with researches, and it's also not that each individual ailment gets an extra like 3% chance to proc. My understanding is you have your 3% chance, or 2%, or whatever it is, that your regular attacks get the effect of the claw, and then you roll a die, basically, to see which ailment gets applied. If they are already poisoned, that effect will do nothing. If they're already stunned, that effect will do nothing. It doesn't just change the list to be like, okay, I'm just always going to choose something else. That said, it's still very good. But I know people were saying before that like V's Kane was Omega OP broken, and I think because it works that way, it's not that crazy. It's very good, but it's not like stupid broken, you know? It's not like you have 3 chances to apply stun research, you know? You have to kind of win a die roll. But that said, this is a fucking awesome addition to the game for like any ailment support spreader, in my opinion.
DXR, baby, DXR.
DXR and this Cactus Hammer, game over.
Yep.
So, yeah, I love it. Anything to add, DK?
Yeah, so that's actually kind of like I kind of agree with that theory as well. Has that been proven yet? The whole do we have a percentage on this head yet? As far as
percentage? No, I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think that we have.
I would assume it'd be a 3% chance because that's kind of the percentage that they kind of go with all around, with like man-made on the man-made ether. I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
3% chance, and then I don't know. I was kind of thinking the same thing, like a 3% chance of a hit to cause one of these basic saddle ailments. So I haven't unlocked the head yet to test it with V because I actually have V built with. He doesn't have skills active, so it's that I forgot what it's called though, but it where you can't use skills and you only attack your regular attacks.
Yeah,
so
that's the Elder Mask. Yeah, super good.
Basically, Elder Mask. There you go. So yeah, I'm basically just doing that right now. I've taken away all kinds of MP buffs and basically wanted to see how much I can actually how many ailments I can cause at once. I took him into arena earlier. And it was doing really good with just the V Kane. So I actually really wanted to test out the head to see exactly, what we could see in percentages as far as what's happening. But I mean, honestly, if I haven't built like that, if you have your V built like that, and that's your only purpose of it, I mean, the meal head's not going to hurt at all.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great.
It's just going to increase your chances of causing status ailments. And then with the nil melt, just so wild, and then DXR as well.
Wait, are you saying you're gonna use man-made ether because it counts as research?
No. I was talking about the head. I was gonna dual wield the head.
Right.
Yeah, to see if exactly how many activate at once with like a couple hits, or if there's no real way of actually seeing percentages. So I mean that's all we have for testing right now. Because right now I'm using Beast King with dual wield on B, along with the King Science Flag. So I was thinking about, swapping out the Science Flag with the head because I'm not using.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm not going for damage. I'm going just to cause status elements.
Yeah, so you definitely.
So I'm actually running like a small Terra Melt on 2B, Terra Melt 2 on a random ass character, just for the extra damage. So just testing out different like little. It's kind of fun to bring V back out because I haven't used him in quite a bit.
He doesn't leave my party in hard content. He's in my tower all the time.
And he destroys towers. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The addition of that one gun from the FMA collab did ridiculous things for his insta kill potential. He nukes everything. Like it's usually a single auto. Almost always kills somebody. Like it's really brutal getting an extra 2% chance to insta kill on every auto hit. It's really insane.
So good. He's
all right.
So good.
So trying to keep things on pace here. Let's take a look at the SR, which is a pretty minor one. I love the art though, super creepy. and great.
Yeah.
Surprisingly good strength for actually okay stats for an SR. Not that you're necessarily going to run it all the time because it inflicts the unit with curse on battle start. Worth noting, this kind of enables if people didn't get all of the collab units and you want to do something like so A2 will obviously get into her, but she has things where you can whenever your allies are incapacitated, she gets like extra powerful and stuff. So you could take chips out of the other two characters and they could just die, and then she gets strong right away. You could also run this arc on one of your units that's not a Nier collab unit and give them the cursed ring that says if you get silenced or cursed, they instantly die. So you could do that, and then so that's something you could do, and then you could run like reincarnation on them, which revives them after every wave if they're dead. So you can just force them to die at the beginning of every wave. So if they're not a unit, that's a Nier unit. That's a way to do it. And another person that I guess kind of likes this, even though they're not that great, is Lorg, just because we didn't really have a reliable way to apply ailments on him before. It's not going to be worth doing probably, but part of his build is like him getting hurt and then getting extra powerful when he gets ailments on him and stuff. So, I think there's weird niche cases where this silly, horrible effect might actually come into play. Maybe.
Yeah.
New era of Last Friday, we're just killing.
I mean, it's a good way of like insta-procking. Shit, what's the name?
A2?
Strong Remedy.
Oh,
Strong Remedy, yeah.
oh,
And also Beast Unleashed or Unchained Beast. Unchained Beast, when you get a status ailment, you can force yourself to get your first proc of it, which gives you 10 SC, makes you magic flinch immune, things like that. So if you have a way to cure that curse afterwards.
Trait.
Yeah, it's on the Arc trait. So, right, yeah. Never mind. Never mind, I'm dumb. Doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I immediately thought, I was like, wait, no, I can't.
No,
I thought that came to my mind at first. I was like, wait, maybe I can use this with Beast or with Unchained Beast. And I was like, wait, no, I can't do that at all.
Not so much. Okay, cool. So anyway, still interesting. The skills on it, mostly stuff that we already have. I think Dark Shield's only on an SSR though, so if you don't have it, like this is pretty good for certain fights. Also in Arena because there's a lot of Dark units that are really good, especially Lug. The unique things that we care about is Uncanny Smile and Quick Getaway. Quick Getaway, I'm assuming that it stacks with Accelerate, and it's just a off-brand Accelerate, so cool. I think these type of effects are actually pretty nice. When you're weak, you get movement speed, especially because for melee units, sometimes if you're looking for self-sustain, if maybe you're not running a support for some reason, one of the biggest issues that I have is you need to be able to get up close sometimes to be able to either throw auto so that Moonsaber can heal you, or be able to just throw out some skills that require movement to get your Proud Force procs to hit. So being able to get in range after getting knocked back if you don't have a movement ability, stacking this with Accelerate, pretty, can definitely help. Uncanny Smile, fine. I don't think adding machine type to a unit is that big of a loss necessarily. And for
defense plus 10%, I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need it, but if you're looking to make a unit tankier, 5 is where about that would be for the cost. It's not awesome of a rate though. I think that you'd probably want it closer to 12 instead of 10, but it's fine. It's a free SR arc. So I think Quick Getaway Quick Getaway is the biggest thing. This weird goofy tech. Somebody will find a jank way to make this good in one singular instance. Then we also got this accessory. Low chance to apply Curse to all units. I'm guessing it's probably a 20% chance since that's usually what the effects are for these.
Yeah, it's 20%.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so, if you don't have something else to run, especially in Arena, could catch somebody off guard. Maybe they're not building for ailment resist. That could work. Makes you weak to Curse. That's the other very notable thing is there's not that many things that give you a boatload of MP, and this is a good one. So if you don't have the butterfly yet from hunting down butterflies, if you didn't get Roy's LR arc, that's crazy. Like, this is one of the highest things in the game, Like, it's pretty good. And so on a unit like basically anybody with auto-advanced magic circles, that goes off 2% of your max. So you want to be able to elevate your MP so that all your MP ups get scaled up further, and then that makes your passive regeneration much better. So SM Theria or Zekis and, all those sorts of units. So, yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
For me, it's going to be an SC save because I actually normally run Gaze of the End. which is a battle start. Attribute resistances of all enemies is -10, and then chance to curse enemies. So,
Yep.
and I mean, also, I mean, you do lose that resistance to all enemies -10. Attribute resistance -10, but you know, the cursing on enemies is actually really good too as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if that might stack.
I think it
Probably.
definitely stacks. It
I think
almost.
so.
I think
Well,
it
you might be
almost.
looking at if it does, so it'd be a 40% chance to curse.
I don't think it would stack like that. Let me correct. I think it would stack like how on hit effects stack, where like they're not stacking, but they're proccing chances multiple times. So it'd be two 20% chances, which technically wouldn't be 40%. But I'm not a mathematician. Right. I don't do that shit. But I'm guessing it would be like 40 or like 34.6829% chance or some garbage. But either way, I don't think that it would stack those percentages, but I think you would get 2 procs on wave start.
Okay, yeah, that make more sense. Like 20% here, and then again another 20% right after.
Yeah. So,
yeah, cool.
Good stuff. All right, moving right along. So that's all our free stuff. So let's talk about our first unit that we got here. We're going to talk about 2B. Now, I don't have a ton to say on 2B. Well, no, I probably still do. But I did not get 2B. But I also didn't really hunt for her.
Right.
So, as somebody that has not used her, I'll give my quick TLDR of my understanding of 2B. As a neutral damage dealer, she's pretty top tier. Her SC saves and the stuff in her base kit is like super noob friendly. Like Baran was one of the most like re-rollable units before because for a new account it just kind of did everything that you need. 2B is kind of the new version of that, it seems. And I hear her DPS is actually pretty good. Like it's not Roy and Luke levels, but like she's very, very good at base, and it's not that hard to just make her really awesome. So for a new player, she's like one of the ultimate pickups, I feel like. So people coming to this game just for Nier probably wanted her.
For sure.
Probably wanted her, and if they got her, like they're probably real happy about it. Beyond that, she just kind of seems like cool. I don't need her. I have Baran. She's probably better than Baran, but I think that it's a marginal increase for somebody that has everything. She's a luxury unit that's very, very cool. That's my impression.
Yeah, my take. I don't have much to say either. She's cool unit, obviously waifu collab unit. So that's that gives bonus points. But in actuality, I guess I just speak for myself, but I don't need to be like she doesn't offer anything special because she's got a 9K cap, but half of that is from her trait that you need to get 100 hit combo. So, like actually putting that into a fight, I don't know. It just
I will say
doesn't come up.
The thing that I've seen is that because of the way that they made her animations, they all chain together so flawlessly that as long as you have skill charges, you almost never break combo. I know I saw UDK put together a video with her, which, the main thing that I just saw was like she was basically solo in like over like 1,000 combo. Like you weren't even trying to hit a high combo. You were just like, oh, hey, we're at over 1,000 combo right now. I was like, that's a thing. So it seems like hitting that 100 cap is probably easier on her than any other unit we've seen.
Oh yeah,
easily.
For sure. Like I've seen videos as well, and man, those are combos for days. But again, I'm just speaking for myself. She doesn't bring anything special to my account. So to me, she's nothing special.
Yep, that's where I'm at too. DK, anything to add?
So I actually had the same mentality that you guys had when I first. I felt like she was a little underwhelming, but after putting a lot of time into building her slowly, mine's only at 103 right now. And then the ability board, I went ahead and nitpicked at what I felt like was necessary on her Enhanced 5. Enhanced 5 wasn't totally necessary to do, but just picking the right skills out of that, and you see that in the video too. I didn't unlock everything. I nitpicked. Basically went after her little four-star skills, and then her traits is what you should do first. You don't need the MP, the magic defense is pretty nice. You don't need the INT. A lot of stuff in there. I wish they kind of like. She has no real reason for an INT part, so I kind of don't know why.
Yeah, they should have given her some extra strength or something.
Extra strength, man. And that's what I'm kind of like starting to realize. Like, yeah, something defense. But I mean, honestly, she has actually an extraordinary defense for a tech unit. Right now, mine is sitting at 1521 on defense, and MND is at 1376.
Nice.
And she's still missing 10 SC as of right now. So like I said, when I first got her, we took me and a couple of the guys on Discord. We usually stay real late up at night and we kind of just do testing and stuff. And I was just really confused on why someone with 5K strength wasn't capping like Alice was, because Alice, out of the box, she's phenomenal. I mean, you get her to level 50 at half a board, and she's capping at 13 or 15. Every single whites and crit. So I was really confused on to see why, to be at 5K strength wasn't capping, or whites were like severely under. Like crits were there at the final, at the highest cap, which I believe was like 1499, but all her whites were at 6 to 7, even to 8 top. So I put a little bit more work into her, but like I started doing some research, and I was talking to Tweaks about it, and he was talking about pursuit attacks, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I kind of see it too now. I guess I've just been kind of spoiled by damage caps lately that I'm not really paying attention to like the big picture here. So I actually took her into towers in 81 through 90, and I'm gonna tell you right now, she destroyed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Baron was in there, or Braun. I'm sorry, guys. If you get Braun, I'm gonna go Baron. I apologize.
That's right. We all pronounce different stuff differently.
Yeah, I'll protect us, whatever. Y'all.
Yeah. Y'all. I say y'all.
Yeah, y'all. Yeah, so I took her into towers, and she actually performed a lot better than Baron. I don't know why. I actually pulled him aside and I did some damage to her, pulled her aside, let him hit, and then I pulled Baron aside and let her hit, and man, she was outperforming the crap out of him. I really couldn't tell you really why, but I basically rely on crit damage, or crit rate, and then of course I percentage boost. I got rid of like Berserker and stuff like that. Anything that's going to drop her HP, because I do like to rely on that Pride a little bit, which is that 20% increase.
Yeah.
I actually would put her. Feel like I'd put her a little bit above a Baron now that I've actually had a chance to really, really play with her. I think she's an amazing unit. I love the dual wield. I love her animations. I'm not a big fan of the S4. I feel like it could have been a little better. But yeah, really all you need to do, and then her SC gain is phenomenal, especially with her Goddess Kid proc. She gains it back. I was able to gain 400 and something in one hit off a regular attack from a backstab.
Yeah, just great.
Insane. And I don't know if I was telling you, but I actually kind of struggled in the towers from, I think, the 90s from 81 to 90. I would actually did it on stream, and I struggled a little bit because I didn't know what to do, but I actually took her in there, and the performance was amazing. So I'm gonna agree with you, she's not 100% necessary, especially for players that have Baron and Bayland. But I think she is definitely gonna be up there. Up there on the non-attribute attackers.
I think we can probably say that she is definitively the best neutral attacker unit.
I really want to say that.
I don't think that is. I don't think that it's incorrect for most things.
No.
The only exception is if you have a brand new fresh count and you can't, maybe you can't abuse something like Winry's Apple Pie or Honey Elixir. Maybe her sustained skills over like a very long fight would fall compared to Baran, but her DPS seems far above. Like Baran's never been a DPS character. He's been a tried and true, like, I'll do damage over the entire fight reliably and not stop, but not do the fastest damage, But she does do fast damage, and she can hit those numbers. I hear she's also really, really good in Arena. Like, her S3 apparently just annihilates people, kind of like Roy's S3.
Yes. It's so fast. So fast.
And I'm guessing she can also dodge like Roy's S3 too, so you can potentially do some allure stuff.
So many, it's insane. You'll just see it go right through her, and then she's already attacking from behind. All you have to do is survive that 10-second shield, and that's the 10-second flinch, and then you're pretty much smooth sailing from there. I do see that 13 said 2B is more effective for is more new player friendly. I'm actually gonna have to disagree with that, because I feel like she needs a little bit more work from like different arcs and stuff.
So when we say new player friendly, if you take her in at 20 SC and just start going through normal, I bet she slaps almost all of it without a support.
Right.
Because doesn't she come with Proud Force? She's got dual wield. She's neutral element. Like, she has all this stuff that you don't need to teach things to people. So those are the things that I look at, is like,
Right.
not new account at endgame or even mid game, but like if you are starting and people are saying, oh, you want to go and throw skill charges and you want to put on pose and you need some sustain, so you either need a support, you want to get proud force and some crits. She comes with like so much stuff that you want, kind of like Swimsuit Alice.
Right.
So that's all that I mean for like new player friendly, but
Yeah.
I mean, scaling towards endgame, I'm sure there's still plenty of necessary things that you want for her. Is there any standouts that you think is like super duper key in her build?
mean, she comes with auto brave, auto crit, auto haste, awaken. Like
She's pretty stacked.
She's pretty new player friendly, if you ask me.
I'm talking about like building wise though, like making her like completely 100% efficient. Like I don't know. If I were to pick between a newer player friendly non-attribute attacker, I'd probably go with Baron. Baron, like because like I think about like how long it's gonna take to get her to a certain point, and like I said, even at level 100, she wasn't capping. Her whites weren't capping. So if you were to put like Baron side by side with her, I feel like Baron's gonna do better early on than her.
He'll obviously do really good too. But like you said, the caps aren't everything on her, right? Between all of the other things, because she still performed better when he was capping.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly,
so like the effectiveness of her was still good. And I think the other big thing is like, we're pretty tied into the community and constantly talking with people, but the average person that picks up the game isn't, and they're not going to know what to reroll for. So like you could start with Baron and not know to have Sandworm, and it's gonna suck when you get to endgame and you don't have Sandworm for him. She doesn't need anything to start with. You can literally roll her and be fine for a very long time.
Yeah.
I guess I could definitely see that.
By herself, yeah.
Just give her some skill charges and boom.
Yeah.
I did want to ask, so one of you guys have 2B? I forget who it is.
I do.
Yeah, DK's got it.
Are there any major skills locked behind her 5th enhance?
No, and that was the most disappointing part. The 5th enhance only increases the damage cap by 1,000, and I believe a small percentage.
Like nodes, like Sword Mega Boost or anything like that?
Okay, no.
Like those skills.
Just traits and increases on her S1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, it wasn't 100% necessary to enhance the 5, but as like...
And stats, obviously. So there was probably like 1,000 health and like 100 strength.
It's exactly
maybe like 100 defense too or something.
100 defense, 1,000 health, increase of cap by 1,000. 10 SC, INT plus 50, which I still don't understand why that exists there. And then her 4-star to her S1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I've noticed that. All right. I've noticed that 5-star seems to be much more impactful if you're trying to make old units work. Because usually when you go to that 5-star enhance, like the traits are a big thing, but usually they scale it up really consistently on these newer units, where if you get, say, a 20% physical damage increase, it might be 20, 40, 60, and then like 80 for your 5-star version. You know? Not like spiked up super high, whereas like old units, when you 5-star them, they literally go from having like one effect to having like 2 or 3 added effects when you level it up to level 4. So suddenly they're like basically how they were before, up to, now you get an extra 30% damage and like 5,000 damage cap, and you take like less damage when you're doing stuff, and this other thing. But these units, it's like, okay, you were doing 60% physical damage. Okay, well, you're gonna get an extra 2k damage cap and do an extra 20% damage. Okay. Like, it's more like a 5-10% increase instead of like a 100% increase in viability, you know? With only some exceptions. I think the only new unit that felt really impactful to get 5-star was Leona, because she had like 16k cap lock behind it. Crazy. Yeah, like she actually had a new ability, which was that like grapple technique or whatever. So that, in addition to the level 4 of her trait, actually was really impactful. But these other new units, it seems like 4-star is like totally great.
On paper, she's just kind of underwhelming. If you were to like throw everything on paper and just read everything individually, you'd be like, not really, I'm not interested. But like I said, she performs really, really well with Purple Orb and Apple Pie, and just it's fun just to spam. And then as you're spamming, you just constantly see your gauge filling back up.
Did you try the the interesting tech with Mirage Tower in her and see how viable it felt, or like how impactful it was. So Mirage Tower has the Arc skill that you can activate it, and the unit that activates it, the next physical 20 hits are evaded, and she gains like SC on a random skill whenever she evades. So it's 20 guaranteed like SC bumps to a random skill.
Oh wow, no, I haven't tried that one. I've mostly just been, I've mostly been just doing sort of corpses and calling it a day on that. But
Cool.
yeah, I wouldn't mind trying the. It's our arc, right?
Yeah.
Our okay.
Our
Yeah.
arcs just coming out of nowhere for
Yeah.
man-made.
Arcs, man, they age real well.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's not going to be her best in slot, obviously. I'm sure.
No,
I'm sure.
yeah.
I'm sure. Icy Guardian and a crit build is probably it. Which, I didn't really want to do this, but we should probably talk about her paid, right? Like,
I mean, her pay's okay.
her sword is easily best in slot, like for an end game
Yeah.
build. Like, I mean, you don't need it. It's not worth
No,
going out of your
no,
way
no,
to
no.
spend money on, just like everything else.
Oh, I honestly thought you were gonna talk bad about it. Okay. Now that you
No.
said that it's actually okay, then I agree.
So, okay, stats we don't care about, because as we know, stats are just whatever. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it is what it is. No,
5%
I want
crit
praise.
rate. 5% crit rate is solid, especially because her best in slot Icy Guardian is going to make it so that any of your crits do an extra 40% pursuit damage. In general, like that's just the way you break through that damage cap. So if she's not hitting cap, then you should probably just be trying to get more damage, probably running Pure Blade. But if she is at damage cap, that's how you push further beyond. When her HP is 70% or higher, plus strength 20%. So a better Brave, except stacks with Brave. So like you don't have to be full, you just have to be high health. That's pretty good, I guess. Stats don't matter much, but they help.
Wait, a better Brave. It is Brave. Brave is 20%.
Yeah, but Brave is at 100% health. This only requires 70.
No, Brave
You
is a
mean
conflict.
Pride?
We Pride.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pride. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm a potato sometimes.
Wait,
there's,
what? Brave?
there's so much stuff. Yo, I
Yeah,
agree.
there's
I
lots
feel
of
you, bro.
buffs.
There's so much stuff in this game. Like it's so easy to get like
Yeah.
twisted in it.
Yeah, and it's
But,
sometimes hard to remember which things actually stack with certain things too. Hold on, I got to go and hide people that are not actually in here. Okay, cool. So, anyway, yeah, Pride. On that note, I realized that the Brave that makes it so that when your health is low, your strength actually increases. I assumed that gave you like a Brave buff and it wouldn't stack, but that's not the case. It's just called Brave to be called Brave. So like that doesn't apply any buffs whatsoever, which is kind of crazy. So like that's up to 50% when you're weak. That's actually kind of crazy from a stat perspective. But anyway, I digress. Extra attacks deal an extra 1.5 times damage. That's really where it's at. So like if you're running Icy Guardian, that 40% extra damage now turns into 60% extra damage. So you're just elevating your damage cap even higher and going further beyond.
Until I bite the bullet, then we will talk about Icy Guardian in my build because I don't have the sword yet. I was really fortunate to get her really early on and not waste a couple of dollars. So
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking if I am gonna honestly the 1,000. If I were to choose between the 1,000 cap or the sword, I would definitely go with the sword because that crit rate is pretty costly. I think if you were to compare that to something as a skill and an SC or the board, it'd probably go around like 9S or 8SC, 9SC or 7SC, something like that, right? Something high cost.
Yeah.
And then the 1.5, and then HP is 70% or higher. Your with her Proud Force and all those hits, you're constantly at that high health, right, or full health at that. So you're constantly even getting that 20%. So that instant Brave added. Plus, if you're already running, she does come with auto Brave and stuff like that. So yeah, and that's sort of. It's got some really cool features that all add in together that make her just so much better as a unit. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. I agree.
It's it's good, but it's not necessary. Just like everything else. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, overall, 2B is amazing. I'm not gonna deny the fact that she's amazing, and she's honestly, I think, I'm willing to say that she is better than Baron and the new player. Like if you were to completely, start over now and use Baron or 2B, I'd say 2B probably is better in terms of the new player. But again, she's cool. I don't need her. That's all I got to say.
I will also note that that is coming from someone that started in alt and steamrolled everything with Baron. Like
Yeah,
everything solo steamrolled.
that is true. No, he did though.
The only thing that Baron has over 2B is his super armor. That's it.
Not only super armor, ruination.
Oh, Ruination,
She
that's
does not have an SCT like recovery thing, and Balin has that on her too, because we'll transition to that shortly. But he's got a buff, and from what I understand, it's a pretty handsome buff on this boy. But all right, we'll talk this other page real quick. So physical damage cap plus 1,000. Okay, I mean usually it's just fine, but we've talked about it before. We don't have much that really requires our crazy high damage caps anyway. So like getting an extra maybe 5% damage ceiling is fine. It's okay, especially when you're dual wielding. It basically turns into 2,000 effective damage. Okay. When a unit recovers from a basic status ailment, recover 10% HP. Okay. Continuous barrier effect. Okay, that could keep you alive. Curse resists. Illness resist. Okay. I mean, those are pretty good. Those are definitely nice to have, but like going out of your way to pay like X amount of dollars to get this?
No, I would not do it.
I would never.
I would not recommend.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we move on again?
I know you guys said that she's the best neutral DPS, but I think you guys are wrong. Clearly, the best neutral DPS is Randy. Don't at me.
Randy.
I just wanted to throw that in for memes.
Yeah.
But I don't got nothing else to say.
A lot of disagreement today. It's all good. It's what it's for, right?
All right.
You're gonna have to have a talk with Baron, by the way, after this podcast,
okay.
because he's pretty pissed off at you right now.
Yeah.
All right, so beautiful Songstress. I'm going to try to get through this relatively quick. Generally, good stats. The passive is pretty good. If you don't have much ways of elevating your damage, like a plus 40% is pretty good. And that goes well with getting a 9S for free, just because applying ailments is really good. And this also comes with unique magic, unique support debuff magic called Stained Decorations. So normally you would have something like Giga Blazer, Giga Drain, Giga Lamosa, which just automatically applies all these debuffs to an enemy. I think it costs like 6 to put on your unit, and it's a 100% chance. This, I think, is probably like a 25% chance, maybe, to apply any of these. So you could cast it the first time and they could get all of these effects, and this is for all enemies, or it could take you... Or it might only get one of these effects, or maybe none if you're really unlucky.
Or override the same one it already gave you, and you get stuck with a wasted DMP.
Exactly. So that said, I think that I tested this out a little bit. I threw it on like V just to kind of see how this arc played with things. And if you can do some cast canceling with this, getting a few of these procs off and just triggering it like 3 or 4 times, usually all the enemies had 3 or 4 debuffs on them. Pretty reliably. So for chewing through mobs and stuff, if you have the MP to support it, because it is pretty expensive, I think it's a pretty good addition. I think it's pretty good, and it works with this arc pretty well, minus the anti-synergy of one of these effects is Blazer, and this automatically casts Blazer, which means one of the effects doesn't even matter because they already have it if you're using this arc, but in general, like pretty good. And then also it's an SC save. If you're going through mobs, you don't have to spend anything on like Auto Brave or anything like this. This gives you Grand Brave and Grand Aura on enemy kill. So kind of like how Baron gets his refreshed Grand strength buff whenever he kills somebody. This does it for both. So if you're scaling off of both, then that could be good. There's not a ton of units that do it, but still pretty. This isn't a bad effect in my opinion.
My thoughts on the arc. The thing that gets me is that you need to have 8 debuffs in order to get the 40% damage. But
yeah,
I don't know. I in my eyes, I don't think this arc is anything special. The only thing that in terms of special are the skills, just because they're new.
Mm-hmm.
But the arc itself, the attributes and the skills, in my eyes, it's nothing. The arc's okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, it's nothing special. It's just okay.
Yeah, I agree. Special abilities, Steely Intent, when you're on the ground, minus 10%. We're getting we've got a lot of ways to reduce physical damage at this point. So like, there's a lot of things you can do with making people survive in general. So adding another one of those is good.
all the skills lift you up. All of them proc sky high. So this goes away instantly. So
True.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't
Well,
know why this would be any good.
Well,
Like
it
maybe
depends
the
who.
initial hit, but that's it.
Well, the only thing I could think of that would really stand out that wants something like this is people with super armor, just because they can stay on the ground and not actually get
That's
lifted.
true, yeah.
So like
But-
Roland and Baran might like it. But also, I mean, you can run it also in like arena if they're not running units that are popping you up a ton, or in that first 10-second window where you have flinch immunity. Then you're not having
That's
to deal
true.
with it. And if you're in PvE and you're against the boss, you could potentially run that Coliseum that gives at least a single unit, 40 seconds of flinch immunity. At which case, you could make sure that they could be going in and the entire rest of your team could be screwed and you could still be wailing on them and having some damage reduction going. So still not amazing.
yeah.
But like there's
Yeah.
there's some applications. And for 4, I think that's pretty on point. Or at the very least, it reinforces that a Tempest Dragon is actually kind of on point if you care about what it gives you. That was from an old collab, and it costed 10 to give you like 10% strength and minus 15% to your physical damage taken.
Physical damage, yeah.
So at that rate, we're essentially saying 4SC gives you 10% strength, which is on point with what all of the other attack ups are. And then it's saying 6SC is worth 15, which is exactly in line with this. Except this is conditional.
That's true.
So that's kind of been
Yeah.
known as being not super efficient. So with that in mind, maybe this isn't very great. But when you can stack up a lot of different percentages, I mean, you can get bosses doing 1 damage to you, in the right situations.
Lena.
Rudo
Lena?
comes to mind, honestly.
Yeah.
9. So I mean, 9 SC total for the one on the SR arc and that one. You get a 20% buff to defense.
Yeah.
For 9 SC. If you're trying to make Rudo like the ultimate distraction tank, I mean, why not, right? He's really, put on Stardust Heal or God Heal and just let him go to town. Let everybody beat the crap out of him. I'm kind of enjoying these small percentages that we're getting because the small percentage can go a long way when added to other things.
Yeah.
And Bruto is definitely one of my main arena players. So I've actually already thrown several of these buffs on him just to get any little thing counts against Roy, man, because we all know how Roy's destroying the arena at the moment.
Yeah. We also talked
Pretty
about
scary.
Roland's buff as well. One of the other things Roland got is while he's in his has super armor active, basically he has minus 50% damage as well. So like that stacking with this, along with like if he's dual wielding maybe a spear with spear high boost and spear other boost, like you can hit 100% reduction pretty easily and just be taking 1% damage. Jawline, I think you actually made a video of that new end game boss where he was just getting barely tickled by the boss, just taking like literally no damage. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like the thing that normally wipes teams, he's just like, what was that slight breeze that happened over my shoulder?
Pretty much. I'm
Yeah.
big into all the defense boosts that we're getting. They seem little on paper, but when you start adding them and they stack, eventually we're gonna have like an extra 60%, defense to these characters, and
Yeah.
where we are gonna see 1-0 at some point, maybe like just brushing it off in there.
All right.
No.
Let's move on to some of these. I think two-handed machine is one of the higher points of this. One, if maybe you're into arena, the two-handed skills are super duper good there. Far better than dual wield in every way. Just a massive boon to a unit. So if you have somebody that uses a machine, maybe you like running Medine or you're running Ed or somebody else, you're gonna want this on them. And then make single wield more applicable as well. We'll get to A2, but she wants this as well if you decide to run Trishula, just because it makes up for some of her loss, which is pretty great. Yeah, we've already seen these, so here's the first time we've actually seen two-handed machine. Stain decoration. Oh, go ahead, man. Sorry.
No, I was actually really excited about the tuna machine when I first saw it, because I thought about Medine right away. I was like, even higher damage cap, and maybe I can give her some armor so she can survive in arena a little bit, because she's a little squishy in arena. So I really, I'm glad I haven't gotten the new arc yet, so I'm glad I was able to get this one, if anything.
Cool. Yeah, I think this one's much better than the other arc.
Yeah, I agree.
Neither of them are chaseable. Like, they're not auto mail.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
No.
Automail
Yeah.
is the best arc that we've seen in a very long time because that type of effect is invaluable to everybody. So like none of these are worth chasing at all, just to be clear for everyone. Then moving on to the last one, Song of Destruction, Battle Start. Put a debuff on somebody that regularly deals damage to allies. Traditionally, when we've seen these type of effects, they really suck. I've heard nothing good about this one, so I'm assuming it's the same. I've not tested anything on it, but I've heard that it does not do much damage at all. Has anybody else
It's like
done testing or done anything?
If my sources, which I don't know if they're right or not, but it's kind of like Sulfurina,
Okay.
like the Sulfurina arc where it just does damage. It's not like applicable as in like, yeah, this is a reliable source. It's just damage. That's all it
Okay.
is.
So I guess the only place that I could see it being kind of okay is like maybe throwing it on one person. All right, well, I guess you could throw it on a few in Arena, just because I'm assuming it lasts 40 seconds, and then once that 10-second flinch period is out, if for some reason you didn't kill everybody, or even after they res, maybe somebody still has it. I don't know, and could be flinching people sometimes, but I don't know. 9SC is pretty steep for that type of effect, I think. So I don't love it. I don't love it at all. All right. And then lastly, as always, Arc Ether Reward. It's a great Ether Reward. I think if you're going after A2 in general, if you don't have the Zelbis blade, however it's pronounced, from Roland's UR, which most people will not, or you don't have her paid, this is one of the better things. Oh, no, this is not the one that I thought it was. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I was doing.
Oh, I'm sorry. They both look kind of similar. I'm sorry. I need to actually look at these things before I open my mouth. We'll get to the other one.
Man.
I'm a professional. All right. So Machine Axe, this basically gives you a similar effect to what you get on like either BB Shin or Sword of Corpses, where it just keeps stacking up your strength, and then doing some extra damage to people in Feint and Break, which is fine. So what is that? Chance Drive, I think.
Yeah, Chance Drive.
Yeah, I think that it will be a really, really good weapon. My main thing is, who do we have that cares about axes right now? We don't really have axe units that aren't old. Like, really, even
Yeah.
Chip Groth, right? Chip Groth is the only real big axe dealer right now.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, you don't really see too much from him right these days.
Yeah. So like, I think that it'll get some use. Like people that get this arc and happen to have this, like down the road, it can probably be good. But yeah.
I mean, if you're a new player looking for a high weapon, I mean, might as well, right?
Oh yeah. Like if you don't have much else and you can just throw an axe on somebody like this, stats don't matter much, but early game. They kind of do though. Early game stats matter a bit, and if you can bump something by over 200,
if I had a weapon
good.
like this at the start of game, man. Do you remember what our weapons were like? Plus 60 on strength, plus 20 on strength.
Oh yeah, dude.
And now these newer players are getting plus 233. That's cash. You know?
Yeah, I mean it is strapped to an AER, so like they're not. I have found that people say pretty early on, at least in the current state, Ethereum's like pretty rare. Like it's always been kind of rare, but like I've never really cared much because you just over time you get a bunch and you don't necessarily need them. You can auto farm through stuff, but new players aren't going to be able to set up efficient auto farming teams. So like getting AERs is not, it's going to take them till at least mid game or more to be able to get that weapon anyway. So like if they had it, it'd be cool, but nobody's actually going to have it on a fresh account, unfortunately. But
so you started a fresh account, and it's like you pursued this alternate account pretty well. How much AR did you or ether pods that you were able to obtain in the little time that you had that new account? Were you able to full AER if you wanted to?
Yeah, I have 20. I've had like I think 40, but I used 20. I used the ones that I got just so that I could rush cultist pendant. I didn't use a lot. I did use some, but not a lot. I made sure to stay above 20, and then the rest I used them on Salus's arc for that the accessory for recast. But to answer your question, I've gotten at least 40 from the time that I've played, and I still have 20 that I'm holding on to for when eventually I end up getting Caldina.
Oh, nice.
Even more reason to rush campaign.
right.
Because I'm sure a lot of that is tied to rewards from missions and challenges and
Ethereum.
things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. So, yeah, do not sleep on your campaign progression, guys. All right,
No.
so we're gonna move on over to our final character that we got recently, A2.
Oh.
Some of us have had some very different summon sessions.
Oh.
I picked her up right away and got to save all my gems, which was pretty great. DK,
Must be nice.
Not so much. Not so much.
I don't even have her. I just got the damn arc. 2B's arc. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty rough, man. Are you still trying to get her jawline, or you don't really care that much?
Nah, I don't really care for the two. I mean, they're cool,
Yeah.
but I don't really care for them.
she's kind of in line with 2B as far as like end game people that have a whole bunch of stuff. Like if you already have a light DPS, whether it's Alice, Roland, just Alice or Roland, right? we don't really have much for light DPS, but but like if you have either of them, like it's going to be a marginal increase to get her on your account. She's fun as hell. Like she's a really good unit, but like nobody needs A2 really. And even if you don't have a light type DPS, if you have a neutral damage, like you'll be okay. Like life doesn't stop because you don't have a light DPS. It's nice to have that tool, but yeah, she's not mandatory. I wouldn't recommend anybody go whale for her unless you just really want her. But she is very good. So I guess I'll talk about my experience with her, which is just like she is super duper resilient for one.
I just want to say, rip Leona.
Yeah. I do think that they do some different things. Like her hit counts are higher. I would be willing to say that even though she more easily caps A2 more reliably, I think that Leona might possibly have an edge DPS wise because her animations and hit count are just faster. So A2 hits really, really hard and hits the biggest PP numbers in a game that we've seen on a physical DPS unit, period. Like, I don't think anybody can outdo her at this point. But her animations, like, they're really low hit count, and it does hurt her a little bit. Like, DPS-wise, she's not anywhere close to, like, Lug or Roy or any of them. She does probably hang with some of the others that are up there, Swimsuit Alice and, Lilibet and, some of those other ones that we have. Maybe even Ed, I don't know. I'd have to test with him a little bit more. But, like, she's definitely top tier in the DPS department, but not, like, tippy top, She... Yeah, is there anything in particular you guys would like to highlight before I talk on any more here?
I don't have her. I have nothing to say. I mean...
Fair.
It's another single build unit, which I think is cool. They're trying to, push that, so that's cool. But other than that, I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah. I think in regards to her versus Leona, I think that A2 in general is definitely stronger for a multitude of reasons. One, the fact that she's light means that she can on-element wield Trishula if she feels like it. So if the elements don't line up, she can do that and still be doing really, really well. So all of her skills are super potent. She can still use Goddess Kiss to a great effect. And it just basically costs her 5k cap and physical damage and some crit rate, which, you don't like to lose, but you could make it up if you get Two-Handed Machine off of the new arc. But in general, when she can be up at a 55k or 60k when her ult goes cap, losing 5k is not the end of the world, especially versus not doing full damage because you're on a sword and you're resisted by enemies. So the ability to cleanly run Trish is really, really nice. Leona, the only answer that she has, which does work, is that her autos are so good, you can give her any element claw that you need against the boss that you're fighting, and she does exceptionally well in those particular fights. I think I went against the new Fire Dragon boss, and I just used the Mother Claw that's ice, and then used Icy Guardian, and I think I killed him in like less than a minute solo with nobody else. Through all of his wipe phases when she's weak to fire and everything, I one-phased it. Like, just, which is pretty impressive for basically just auto attacks.
That key release, though, my God.
Yeah, if you need to be tanky, like, A2 has tankiness, but she has very, aggressive tankiness. Like, she'll have a few times that she can get slapped around, and she's going to come back and keep hurting people, but eventually she's going to fall down. Leona can basically just have infinite sustain with her key release to just full heal, more or less. I mean, she has the steadiness of mind or whatever that's her heal that heals her status ailments as well, and then her key release to increase her defense and mind, which, stats don't usually matter a ton, but that's mostly for aggro. And like now that we can actually have our mind and defense getting higher and higher between some of these mechanics, and DK was talking about some of our percentage increases, like the way damage calculation works, raising the defense and mind of your units between Proud Force and some other things you can do, you can be real tanky against some of these bosses between debuffing and then having your own stats be high. So I think that's about the only edge she might have, is she's going to probably do less damage in most cases, but her survivability over a long fight is pretty good overall.
Very, very good. I think it's amazing.
So
I like her ailment resistances.
Her ailment resistances are good too. Yeah. Are you talking A2 or Leona? Because they're both good, aren't they?
A2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think Leona's were pretty good too. But yeah, A2 has everything that you'd want, pretty much. Resist on stun, illness, curse. 3 of the big ones you care about on a DPS unit. Only weak to silence, which literally doesn't matter because she doesn't have her own unique magic.
Doesn't matter at
That's
all.
where you want the weakness to be. So,
I feel like they knew what they were doing when they made that character. They're like, all right, guys, here comes the stop. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So this is one where you could cleanly put on something like the green multiplayer ring and just make those nil and just call it a day. If you cared, you cared about it, like you can do that, and like there's no SC wasted at all, because there's some of these units where maybe they'll be resistant in 1 or 2 and then they'll be like nil in 1 already, and like technically that's kind of a loss when you're like trying to min max, know. But yeah, I like it. I think that's great. She does some very interesting things, like she gets really, really crazy when her ult happens. So her ult does okay damage, but it's not really great. I was hoping that because of one of her passive traits that lets her get her ult back quicker the first time, basically, I was hoping maybe she could be somebody that can compete with like Alice or something. But in practice, she doesn't really get cap raises for her ult anyway. I think I talked to somebody, and even if you are hitting max cap, it's only like 13k or something. It's just not really good enough. But what you do get is you get to go into crazy berserker mode, where, she gets an extra 10k damage cap, or physical damage increases, so you're probably hitting that cap, and it's real satisfying. She does get hurt, and I did some testing. It is the same HP lost, it seems, as berserker, which is like 16 to 20% every 6 seconds. The only difference, it can't kill you. Berserker can kill you. This, you will be left at 1 HP. So,
nice.
So she will not kill herself in berserk mode, which is good to know. So that's cool.
Let's be real. If you get 1 tap, it's over. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're with Kyle and you got some barriers going,
That's true. I
Maybe.
don't have Kyle.
But either way, yeah. Either way, though, she's definitely a lot of fun. Another big thing that helps her viability for just playing is she comes with a special ability called Taunt. And I cannot overstate how important this is to how she feels. So one, it makes it easier to kill stuff. If things are weak, then you get extra damage. Cool. The main thing is you also get basically a stacking Pose for Glory effect for free. So every time she gets a kill, you give her Pose for Glory, she's getting 10 SCT back. So what that really does for you is, like, if you're on skill charge 3 and she already has quick trigger, if she doesn't get a charge for S3, you can go in and get a single kill. That'll give you an S3, and then between her natural regen and like this giving you stuff, odds are if you get another kill, she ends up getting another one. Like, her sustained damage when she's chewing through mobs is insane. So like, even if her DPS isn't up there, she is constantly max stacks after you start getting a couple kills. And she just lays into people. It is really, really great. So it feels pretty awesome. Used her in Arena a little bit. Her survivability with things like Lone Survivor. If everybody else is incapacitated, you basically get a full heal, and then you get a damage boost for everybody. I went in without From Zero. She's obviously got Indomitable Spirit, so she's sort of got a save your life type mechanic anyway. But I went in and the rest of my team got wiped, which I was just kind of letting them to just see how things would go. She survived when she was like kind of half-baked of a build in like level 70. She survived and just wiped their entire team without trying. Like, her damage is pretty obscene.
That's exactly what I figured was going to happen.
Yeah, she's really crazy. And her S3 is at least a gap closer from anyway. It doesn't require line of sight. I don't love that it's on the S3, which probably takes like 40 seconds to charge. But it also has 3 stocks available, which means when you're running Sword Render, you get a charge and a half for free, and then skill charge 3 pushes it over 2. So on wave start, very easily, she has 2 charges of her gap closer that does immense damage in arena. So she's pretty nutty in arena. So people that like arena, you do get something. Plus, I think people are going to start running Machine Slayer more now. I've started to see some people actually using 9S, which I don't think is going to last, because I don't think he's good enough to just take that spot compared to like Logia, maybe. Logia could probably do better. But I have seen him run, and people actually winning with him sometimes. But 2B is a big deal now. Swimsuit Alice, big deal. A2 now, big deal. So like everybody's always kind of run God Slayer, maybe Sorcerer Slayer, because those are the common things. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually people start running Machine Slayers just to counter some of these units.
I'm tired of Saluses.
Yeah, so, but right now, it hasn't quite happened yet. So, like, when Roy comes in and throws something, usually he's just got Human Slayer and God Slayer, almost always.
Yeah.
And Lug, too. Like, he's got the biggest coverage ever, because he does pretty much living things. So, all humans, he's got the Brute Slayer, doesn't cover machines, so if you're not splurging for the 8SC, yeah, she just doesn't care. She doesn't care about that damage at all, and she just murders everything. And I heard 2B is exactly the same. Completely nukes things.
Crypt says A2 is definitely top tier in arena. She has his stamp of approval.
Awesome. Cool.
In arena.
Well, there, you heard it, you heard it, folks. I'm not talking out of my ass. She's real good in arena.
Yeah, arena specifically.
Arena specifically. Yeah, I mean, PvE, like I said, I think she still hangs with everybody else. Her damage cap does mean that she's really, really good. I mean, she effectively has, like, a 25k damage cap, and then when she's in Berserk mode, it becomes a 30k cap, like, plus. Like, obviously, there's a little bit of wiggle room because you can run equips and you can do different stuff, but roughly that's what it looks like, which is pretty awesome. So, I mean, that hangs with a bunch of people. Her hit counts are a little bit weak, but like I said, when you can spam abilities like she can, it's really, really good. Her S1 seems to have good scaling, so it's capping pretty much all the time, which is great. And it charges really fast. I don't know if it's like 10 seconds or less, but I think that skill charge 1 gives her like 2.5 charges, maybe? I think? Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I just know that she... sustained damage. Pretty generally good from what I've seen, especially compared to other light units. Maybe not Alice, just because she has Ether Release, but yeah, I think she probably hangs. I wish I could test with Alice a little bit. I don't really know exactly how she lines up, but...
I think the funnest test for A2, if I do get her, I'd probably take her into Mother. I really would like to test that. Test her there. Just see like how fast you can knock out the droids and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Why not?
Yeah.
The only problem...
I know a lot of people struggle with that one.
Yeah. So speaking of that...
Use Gobble.
Or, before they patch it, I may as well throw this out here because they're already aware and they're going to be patching it. You can make Merity immortal right now. So if anybody didn't know, it's pretty funny. She has a passive that says whenever she takes damage, she gains a stack of a buff. Stacks up to 100 times. And... basically just, like, reduces some damage, I think, or something, and makes her S2 do more damage by consuming all the charges. Well, there's an old Ark that I've generally renowned as, like, pretty bad, except for, like, getting Tour ailments up, or, like, Tour resists up, which is the old, Dragon, like, Renicle, or something like that.
Yeah, Dragon Treasure Rainicle.
Yeah, so it has this little passive of every time you get a buff applied to you, you gain 10% of your max HP, which is like, okay, whatever. Well, her passive is giving you a buff, and that counts for that. So every time you take a point of damage, you heal 10% of your max health, which basically translates to you being completely immortal. So I beat Mother for the first time by cheating like a horrible bastard. But I do like the idea of going in with A2 and just see how she does. I like that idea. But yeah, so it's just kind of funny to just see Merity like just sit there and take all the damage and not care at all.
It's like 834 heal on every like hit. It's stupid insane.
Yeah, well, it just depends on your max health. So if you also have max health, then like that's a thing too.
Yep.
Yeah, mine was like in the 800s. I was like, oh my! Like you literally see nothing happening to her health bar.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I will say, even with the cheese, that fight is still really hard.
No, it's hard.
Because that final wave, like things respawn in like 10 10 seconds or something, so you have to kill everything. You have to weaken everything very strategically and then line things up to try to get a hit. And with all the magic that happens in that fight, you get CC'd so much. In order for this cheese to work, you have to use her S2 on occasion so that she's not sitting at 100 stacks, because if you're at 100 stacks, it stops working because you're no longer gaining buffs. But sometimes you can't even get that off. Like, you just get juggled for like 30 seconds straight, and like it's kind of hard sometimes to actually do it. So you have to like budget all of the HP of all the enemies and then be able to line up that actual like final kill shot to get everything synced up. And like it still was like a 30-minute clear time or something for me to like get it done.
I rely a lot on Solaris in that fight too. So the fact that I can't use that on her kind of nukes me a little bit as well. So I'm spending a little bit more time fighting the robot.
Wait, why can't you use Solaris on her? Oh, because of the cheese. Okay, yeah. Well, if you're gonna do it legit, probably pretty good.
It was a lot easier.
Wish I had Solaris. Solaris would be nice, but
that's right. You don't.
I have almost no URs. Yeah, I've gotten.
I feel like you have like this huge whale account, right?
Yeah, not at all. I've got 2 copies of Eldrov and 2 copies of whatever it's called, the fire one, Kagasuchi.
How do you think Eldrov will work on A2? You think it's pretty good?
I think it's just fine. I think that much like a lot of other units, she probably just wants to use something like Icy Guardian. Like if you're just looking to maximize damage. I think that if I was in a perfect scenario, I would probably have the support with her, probably applying Fire Circle as well as Dark Circle to get the resistances down, Super Bad Chemical or Weak to get those resistances down, and then just have her go in. If she's already capping, we don't even really need to run the Holy Circle, but getting that ice resistance down as much as possible to really make the most of those pursuits is kind of important. Because for anybody in chat that doesn't know, the way that pursuit damage is calculated, none of your multipliers or additive damage matters. So you could have plus 5,000 ice damage. The pursuit attack doesn't care. It's just going to do damage percentage based on the hit that triggered it. But what it does care about is an enemy's resistances. So it's going to come in as true damage. So I don't believe like defense and mind matters, but resistances do. So if they're plus 20 ice resist and that pursuit was going to do 100 extra damage, it's only going to do 80. But inversely, if you can make them be negative, your pursuit can start doing extra damage, which is really nice. So yeah, just good thing to know. The more you can drop that ice resist when you're in an Icy Guardian comp, the more those pursuits are going to be hitting. So for min-maxing at endgame, there you go.
Another arc that aged very, very well, Icy Guardian.
Yeah.
We talked about the arc of A2.
You know what? I don't think we did. There's not much to say, so we're just gonna move on though. Okay, so
it's true, yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about how just fine the Songstress was. This is even more just fine, except worse in many ways. There's only one really big redeeming quality in my eyes, but we'll take a look at it anyway. So this gives you an effect where each living machine, you get plus 5% strength to a max of 30%. As we talked about, stats don't matter that much. So okay, I guess, get some strength, but whatever. You take less damage from machines. Okay, that's not much damage less. If this was much higher, maybe this would be good in the mother fight or something. But 10% isn't a huge deal, in my opinion. After this, 13 in chat just remind me we should hit up her paid as well for A2. So we'll bounce over there after this.
Oh, true.
This is the thing that bothers me the most. When an ally is incapacitated, apply a crit rate and SCT recovery buff. This would be a totally different arc if this just said while an ally is incapacitated, unit plus 15 and SCT plus this. The fact that this does not stack with any buffs is terrible, and they're not even big buffs. This is a standard crit buff. This is a standard haste buff. A2 herself comes with auto haste. It's so bad. If it was a persisting effect, I could see it being somewhat usable, but right now, I would run our Arks over this, all day. It's really bad from that perspective.
Cover your ears, machine Lifeforms. Cover your ears.
It's just so bad. I will say the art is beautiful. I freaking love this art.
I was gonna say the art is
on
something
point.
else.
It's
probably
so
one of
good.
the best looking arcs I've seen.
Yeah, I agree. I really love it. All right, so another area for Skill Charge 2 is good for newer players, just because there's not really a whole lot of sources for Skill Charge 2, and Skill Charges are really great, so that's good for some people. Charge Attack is a new one. I like this in concept. I hate its cost. I think this is so niche that paying 7 for this effect I'm never gonna run that.
Yeah, I don't like this. It's trash.
Yeah, like
Just to be honest, it's just trash.
yeah, like I feel like if you're building really well anyway, usually you're probably going to be capping anyway, and you're not going to need a sometimes better damage increase. Somebody like A2, if she's not capping, it could work because, like I said, she gets so much stuff back that usually you use a skill and then you're going to kill something and you're going to be max stocks again on everything anyway. So like her animations are slow enough and she gets skills back quick enough that like she generally has some max stocks and you're just kind of juggling between skills. So like it could have some use, but 20% damage buff for 7? That's hyper situational.
You can get it somewhere else.
I just can't. I
You
just
got
can't.
Sky High. Come on.
Weak point boost? They just make them weak.
Yeah.
You know? It's just, yeah, it's bad. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
50%? Maybe at 70. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I think what it should have been is they should have just given it a similar... Really, it should just be cheaper, like 4 or 5. 4 or 5, and I would consider running it, probably. Or they have to make it more conditional, like This Is Power, or whatever it's called from the DMC arc. That one had a similar effect. It was just literally better. But it was basically, if you have, for each stock of skills you have, it increases the damage of all your skills up to a max of 6. So as long as you have at least 6 stocks, all your skill damage is increased. So total. So that one's just way easier to do and gives you a way bigger boost for the SC. So like...
Yeah.
You know?
Like just basically stock on, like, don't use one certain area and you're getting, you know...
Yeah.
That's yeah, man, that's wild.
Yeah. Somebody in chat asked...
Human. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody in chat asked who's better, A2 or B2 for a beginner. B2, 100%. It's or 2B, yeah.
I've heard so many people say it backwards.
Top tier naming conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2B for sure. It's not mandatory to roll for Arks to make her viable. You should still do it, but yeah, she's neutral DPS, which means you're not going to care about enemy resistances, and she comes with dual wield.
She's got dual wield. Yeah, that's crazy.
And then the rest of her
towers.
Yeah, and the rest of her kit just comes with stuff that you're gonna want, and you don't need to teach her. So you just need to go unlock nodes in her skill tree, and it doesn't really matter what arcs you get, and you have time to go build up that collection before feeling like you're kind of hamstringed by not having the right tools. So yeah, 2B. All right.
I was gonna say imitation human garbage. Why would you ever use this? I don't understand.
No, it's a stat boost. It is an efficient stat boost. Technically, if you're wanting to update those stats. But like, who cares about bumping up your strength and defense by 10%? That's the thing. Because 10% would be the equivalent of 4 SC if you're talking about stuff. So you save 2 SC to get it, which
what's the point of adding a type? Soldier, knight, sorcerer.
I think the only reason for that, I believe, is because of A2, because she actually has a unique thing that basically says she gets extra stats if you have at least one human. So you could run it with whatever, and you don't have to spend 2 SC on mimicry to get that effect. So you save 2 SC on a mimicry and then 2 SC on stats if you're already doing it. So you could be running her with 9S, for instance, as like your support to maybe make her a Terror Melt build or something. Mm-hmm. And she can still get her stat buffs. He can be a little more survivable and doing a little bit more damage. So like, yeah, you're not wrong in the sense that like it's hyper niche, like really, because who cares?
Like that was really came down to it.
Glory to mankind when at least one. So you just need to add mimicry. What I don't understand why you would run it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm saying I'm saying in a niche case where you also want to be updating stats, it's not great by any means.
At 4 SC, I would use it. I might use it at 4 SC. 6 is kind of 10%. I would go for the 10%. Let's be real here. Strength and defense plus 10%.
I mean, that'd be crazy at 4 because that's what strength 10% would cost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I agree. And you never run this in arena. I mean, you probably don't run it anyway, but definitely don't ever run this in arena. That's suicide. You don't want a human type. Everybody has human slayer. This, on paper, this sounded really cool until I saw how much it costed.
The anti-chain
damage? Like, the main thing that stands out to me is, like, those big boss ults that could go and just wipe your entire team. Like, you could potentially put this on and maybe reduce some damage, but, like, 12 SC? You kidding me? Like, what happens if a boss has an ult that only does, like, 10 hits? Like, this literally does nothing anyway.
Right.
You know?
Like, Game of Heroes.
I would much rather have just had this say, like, what if this literally was like 12 SC for like minus 50% damage from boss ults? Like, that'd be a thing.
That'd be really cool.
You know? Like, that actually could be a thing that might be worth 12 SC. You know? Instead of people having to run like decoy and heals and things like that, you could literally just survive.
What about, I mean, I guess I could see maybe this being used in like arena, I guess, like if you put it on your tank, because everyone's just throwing skills left and right, so those 50 hits could probably stack up.
I think the only thing is, with how much damage there is right now, when people are on offense, if you have one of the like 10 really awesome DPS units, I don't know if there's a way to build your unit to not just die now. There's nobody I fight that just survives, even like Rutos and stuff. Like, the only way people are living is if they're running Mindscapes, so they have invincibility for a time, or they're Ruto, where he gets like 7 seconds of invincibility. Otherwise, everyone crumbles now at high level play. Like, there's just nothing you can do.
In arena.
What's that?
It wouldn't work in arena because you literally get one-shotted at some point in time. I don't really get combos in arena. It's like 2 hits you're dead. It's like, especially with like Degro. I think I played an arena match and she hit some dude twice and died, and the dude died, and I'm like, wow, okay, so there's no real combos happening in arena. You just see death. Like, who can kill? Now, and even bosses, we have very few bosses that are even going to hit a 50-hit combo.
Yeah.
Well, I try to justify it. I tried.
Yep, you tried.
We'll see if it could be used anywhere, but I guess not.
I think
trash as well.
I think if it costed 4 SC, I probably still wouldn't run it.
No, there's
like,
still something of value here, though. We could save this. We could save this arc a little bit.
We're
gonna get
there's
that
some kind of application, right?
Yeah, I think that maybe down the line, you know, things maybe would shift in some sort of way, shape, or form. You know, there's maybe certain bosses where this could be applicable. Maybe like the Liu Xeus fight. I think that one actually, his ult actually does like a shitload of hits.
Yeah, his ult.
But like, I'm guessing it has like 1% or less application throughout campaign and endgame content. Like, it cannot be very much.
True. Yeah.
I was leaning more towards the save on the arc either, but I mean, we could save the skills if we want to here.
Not at all. No, no. This is definitely the only reason that people should want this arc at all. Yeah. This sword's actually pretty legit. This is what I thought I was talking about with the other one. So we get a crit rate plus 5%, which is great. Now, of course, this is basically made for A2, but you could run it on anybody. It's light attribute, so her Goddess Kiss gets all of her light bumps, which is great. The crit rate is going to go with Icy Guardian, as well as just if you're struggling to hit her cap, crit can help you to do that. And then it also has a passive, Sword of Corpses effect, where you're bumping up strength over time with your hits, which I didn't test, but I believe that all those effects do not reset between waves, so you can kind of have all of these kind of compound over time. And then, maybe her ult will hit a little bit meatier or something with the strength up. But high strength as well, a little bit of defense in mind, which is just negligible. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, in general, one of 3 best-in-slot swords for A2.
Light weapon too at that, next to
Zelda. And the other ones are not very accessible to people anyway. I mean, this is on a limited arc, so it's not accessible anyway. But 5% crit with being light attribute is super duper good. The only things that really compete with it is the Zelbis blade, which Zelbius, yeah, thank you. The Zelbius blade, which I don't even have on her right now because of what I was running.
Crit 5, critical hit 5%, light attack damage plus 10%, light attribute.
Yeah, so it can help you to hit that. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jawline. My apologies.
No, go ahead. I was just going to read the stats. I mean, SDR 225, int 143, and then 20 MP.
Yeah.
Such an awesome blade, man.
Yeah, it's super good. I cannot wait for this to get added to Godforge, just like the Fire one did. That's what I'm waiting for.
I cannot wait.
Hell yeah.
God.
Let's
Can
get
you
like a plus
imagine?
100% ult damage on this when it's max plus 40 or something.
Wow.
That's what I
Insane.
want. Okay, but anyway, so if you don't have this one, which is from a UR, like almost no one is going to have that. That's the other best in slot because again, light attribute, it's got some crit damage and then an extra passive to it too. And then the other one is of course paid. Oh, trade. That's what I'm looking for. Which is her paid, which is if you have like a perfect build. I regret to say this is probably her best in slot pretty easily. Like the special plus 30% doesn't really matter much, but it's there. It'll do a little extra damage. Gives you that 5% crit, just like the other ones that we said were top tier, and then a little bit of a damage cap, which with dual wield, that's kind of the same thing as like, Scarlet Blade, I guess. When she can be capping at like 55,000, 65,000, this isn't a huge thing, really. Like probably less than a 5% increase in overall damage ceiling, but it's something that is technically an edge over the others. But I would say if you have any of those three, you're probably pretty good. I mean, in general, you can also just run like Pure Blade on her and be totally fine. Having light attribute mostly just helps with Goddess Kiss procs. But I would say that those three are her best options, with this probably having a slight edge over the other two.
This one?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it and
So here's my thinking. They all have crit plus 5. And
right.
if your build by itself is hitting cap already, the other two literally do nothing. Literally do nothing.
Okay, I can see that.
This
all right.
Yeah, this does. It makes your ult do a little more damage, and then it gives you a little cap raise. Marginal increase.
All right, yeah,
That-
no,
that is the
I
highest,
get what you're
though.
saying now.
That
I
is
get what
fair
you're saying
enough,
now.
though. It is the highest damage cap we have received on a paid, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
I think that I saw...
3,000, yeah.
Yeah, I think... Well, yeah. I mean, it's effectively 150, though, right? Because we're not dual wielding. So, like, it is not really the most, effectively.
No, yeah, that's
Scarlet Blade being more is better. Technically, the biggest one would probably be Roy's, because doesn't that give... Or is that 1,500 too? I thought that was 2,000.
I think it was pretty. I thought it was 1,500.
I
Wait,
thought
I
I'm
I
not
think
too
it's.
sure.
I think it was 2. I think it was 2K, but only when hitting weak point.
Exactly.
Which is pretty good. But
okay.
that translates over to 4,000 though. So, but yeah, so that's pretty good. It's fine. Before I talk about her other paid, I would like to say that there's plenty of free to play options too. I said that those 3 are pretty limited and like her technical best in slot, but there's others that are totally great too. So if we take a quick peek here, nope, I'm wanting to filter, not do other stuff. Light Sword, there's one of them in particular that really stands out. So Spirit Blade Marios is pretty good. Your regular attacks will do some more damage, so when her skills are recharging, which isn't super often, you'll be able to at least do some extra damage, and you still get those the light attribute on your autos, which is great. The big one, I think, is Raid Light Sword, which I think is probably like a 5% chance to get an extra pursuit attack. Or no, this is, I'm sorry, this is just extra damage chance. So if you're struggling to hit the cap, some of yours will hit harder. I don't know what the percentage chance is, but in general, I think this is a totally good sword if you happen to have it. I don't remember where we got it from, but I think it was probably from an event, maybe.
Raid Light Sword?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember where we got this from, to be honest.
Look it up on Goldmine, everybody. So if you're wondering, look it up, see if you can still get it. It might have been out of shop.
That
It
was
might have been
Alice,
someplace
if
else.
I'm not mistaken.
What was that?
I think that was Alice. Alice's event.
Could be. Yeah, very well could be. Could technically run the Paladin set on her. We've never had anybody that cared at all, but I'm pretty sure if you have the full Paladin set, you get like a Beastly Banquet effect where you get like 1 stock on wave start or something to all your abilities and like some damage reduction and things. So like if you happen to have the Paladin stuff and nothing else, you could try running it and see if it's any good. This gear has never really been worth a damn, but you know, she technically could use it.
Yeah, it was from the Alice event.
Sky in chat
sorry.
says it's a 15% chance on that Raid Light Sword. So cool, thanks man.
It's from the Alice event, the Raid Light Sword.
Okay, cool.
Oh, my memory does work. Great. Awesome.
Yay. All right.
Yeah.
And then her other paid, also not mandatory by any means. I think it's interesting. I actually like it more than her her sword. Not that I think it's better, but I like it more. Gives a good amount of strength, which clothes just usually don't do. I think that's technically the highest strength on a piece of clothing. and fair defense for some clothes, some resistances up here, which can be helpful. Basically, the effects like patience and fury and things that boost your stats, this gives you that for all of them. And then also continuous regen. So what that effectively does is if you have her in her ult, which is reducing her health, or maybe if you're even running Berserker on her to reduce her health, every 6 seconds when you take that damage, you're taking much less damage because you're instantly healing some of it too. And as you get weak, your mind is increasing, so that heal is actually getting higher. So what this effectively does is helps you to dance near death without dying, which I just think is interesting. Like, it's niche, and like you just want to be slapping things while full HP probably, but you know, it's got a niche and interesting application, so I kind of like it. But I wouldn't chase it. Don't go out of your way to go pay for this. There's plenty of other good options for her. Which I obviously could have done this for 2B as well, but I don't have her, so I'm not as well informed on her. But for free-to-play stuff, for her chess piece, the best thing for her is probably God Gold, which is just the super armor from Godforge. It attracts people to her to keep them off your supports, gives you physical damage reduction. That bumps up to 15%, I believe, when you actually get it maxed out to plus 40, which most people won't do, but still. And then you just also have a chance to just not take some physical damage. And then you got some blind resist too, which she didn't have any resistances for. So blind is another good one that physical damage dealers want. So plus some real meaty stats. Like, these are easily by far the biggest defensive stats on a piece of gear for body. So that's good. The other one that I really like running on her is she's kind of slow, sort of like Baron. Not nearly as bad, but she is kind of slow, and she only has one gap closer. So getting a little bit of extra speed is kind of nice. So I like running ninja apparel on her sometimes. So for anybody that doesn't know what it is, so ninja apparel just gives you a bunch of stuff for what it is. It's only a 4-star, but I just love putting this on people that are going to be running clothes. I run this on Leona too. Gives you a little bit of dark resist, gives you some poison and blind resist, gives you +1 to movement speed, and an 8% chance to evade physical attacks, which is one of the highest physical evading chances that we have on a piece of armor. I think maybe Balin's coat is higher, but otherwise it's usually like a 5% chance on things like that. So that's pretty good. And then in the current event, actually, Machine Clothes is also not too bad. Just because Machine Clothes, if I can find it, I don't know why I came in here. This is really hard, and I'm not... Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, game. Thank you. Thank you. This is very cool. Very tight. I love it. This is extra good for people that are just listening and not actually watching me fumble around, you know? Great for radio. Okay. Where is Machine Clothes? Okay, so I said that usually we don't get a ton of strength. This does give a +60 strength, which is pretty good. And then also gives you a movement speed buff. Now, if this is +2, this actually has viability over Ninja in my eyes, because at least it does give you more speed than Ninja does. I'm guessing it's probably a +1, but it could very well be a 2, so we have to wait for Goldmine to update. I'm sure Lake will have the details on that for us. But if it's a +2, this is a unique piece of clothing that is totally worth putting on units that are going to be running clothes and need to be running around. So, yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, no, that's actually not bad at all. Is that a +40?
What's that?
Is yours at +40?
My Ninja's apparel?
No. You're the clothes from the Nier collab.
I don't think that one gets a plus.
No, you can't enhance it.
Oh, that's lame.
You can't? Yeah. There's certain things you can enhance, but I don't think Machine Clothes were on that list.
I was going to say, man, if you can enhance that, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, well, enhancements on clothing, though, almost always just goes to defense.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be strength anyway, probably. I think there's very few that actually buff up your strength when they get upgraded. But
yeah.
Anyway, somebody asks, is 2B's best arc going to be the Occult God arc or Icy Guardian for overall DPS? I think it depends on your build. If you're going for a crit build, Icy Guardian. If you don't want to go with a crit build, it would be Occult. That's my feeling on it. So I don't know how much of a crit package she has built in, but maybe you don't want to spend the amount that you have to for crit, and you're okay with having a little bit of a lower, damage ceiling. Icy Guardian, or maybe the boss is just like 100% resist to ice. At which case, like if you're in a boss fight where everything's plus 100 to all elements, Occult God's going to be better. Like Icy Guardian's not going to do much. So, yeah.
I've run them both, and I actually do like Icy Guardian more.
Yeah.
Although you do get the damage cap, sometimes you don't get to fully see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Icy Guardian is going to benefit her more in the end, or actually in the long run too.
Yeah.
As a unit. So
I think more content, Icy Guardian's going to be the winner. But if you either don't have Icy Guardian or you just don't have her built for like really high crit chance, Occult God is going to be really, really good. And I would say that the bonus probably helps her more than some other units like Baran, probably, just because she doesn't have as high of a damage cap. Like, she doesn't have over a 20k damage cap. So, percentage-wise, it's more than just a 5% increase to ceiling. It's a little bit more, like 7% maybe. So, like, we're talking really in the weeds min-maxiness there. But, either one, totally great. Just situational. But I'd probably rock Icy for most stuff. All right, so that is the units. Anything else you guys wanted to talk on in regards to units and arcs from this event?
Man, I think we covered pretty much.
Yeah, we went through it.
We had opinions on this one. And this one was good, though. We had a different opinion. I like that. So, you get to see each character from different angles and stuff like that. So, no, that was really good. I enjoyed that.
Awesome.
I wanted to ask how we felt about the quick and random collab right after FMA.
I would like a shout out because I said it on last podcast, and she was like, "No, wait, DK, it's not gonna come right around the corner."
So,
bro, it wasn't even a month.
So
we got another collab.
I also joked before that DOH used to be special. It used to be the thing that there'd be like months in between, and then when DOH came out, we were like, "This is gonna be the shit." And I was like, well, DOH is going to become normal banners, and then collabs are going to become DOH, and apparently it's kind of what's going on. We're just going to have a collab every 2 months, and then DOHs are in between them with, like, a random general pool banner. Like, collabs aren't going to be as special if they're coming all the time. But that said, I will say they both bought things that were really valuable to the game. And they also are an opportunity to loop in and bring some new players, which I think is the main reason to do it, is just people that like certain franchises and stuff could be tempted in to try a game and see how awesome this is. I think that also FMA was a bit of a different event because it was so small. Like, it felt like a bite-sized event just to be like, okay, we're going to bring you some new arcs and units, and you're going to be happy about it, and we're going to make it real easy to level all those things up, and then we're going to move on with our life. We don't have time to actually budget to make a really interesting event or to, like, give you some story or do whatever. We're just going to give you some cool things we designed, hopefully get some new players, and then we're going to give you a real collab in a month. Like, that.
You bring up the events, and I feel like with every new event that comes out, they just are getting worse and worse. Like, what I'm saying is, I don't know. I just feel like the events are so boring. Like, whether it's collab or a new unit, the events are so boring. Like, there's just nothing to do. Like, the last time that I felt like I was like, oh man, I have to grind, was the recent. Well, it was first the Dr. Stone one, and then again, it was the Dr. Stone where we had to grind the batteries and combine and stuff like that. But ever since, all the other ones, I want to say also Secret of Mana, just because I like the Secret of Mana one. But the events now, they're just so boring. I don't know.
Yeah, for the most part, I totally agree. I mean, I like to at least see some new things, especially them flexing their artistic side. Like, the first time I saw the Songstress boss, I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, it looks really cinematic, like, visually. I liked the idea that it was a lot of a taller map, so there was more, like, positional awareness. Like, there was some, like, AoE attacks that, like, you could kind of run out of range of and then, like, come into attack, and then, like, things would be back here, so there's more vertical movement that was required. So, like, it felt like the fight dynamic was a little bit different than we normally see. But then after you do it once, it's a real shitty map to do. So, like, I thought it was really, really cool the first time through, which was cool. But I can only imagine that, like, having even some of those little changes probably took a bit of brain power for them to go and do, to, like, make that to be something that people are like, oh, this stage sucks, don't do it. Like, why would they give us a challenge that takes says we have to clear it in 2 minutes and then give us a minute of cutscenes in it? Like, people bitched about it more than they complimented it, I feel like, and it was neat, but at the same time, it doesn't add much to the game, and it wasn't really impactful enough to matter.
I also want to mention that it's a very slight detail, but when Secret of Mana, actually the first time that it came out, when Secret of Mana came out, we had the home screen, the title screen. I mean, its own thing, and we had the music on the title screen, so that was cool. But then in the overworld, we also had new music. I don't know.
I didn't know that.
They haven't done that. They haven't done that since Secret of Mana. I don't think.
The music, maybe not. I haven't paid attention to it much. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like the theme music, they got rid of it. But the Secret of Mana in the overworld, that was dope. I really liked that. It was, although it was a very subtle thing. Yeah. It was really nice.
Didn't DMC have it? I could have sworn DMC had it.
Not the overworld. No. I don't even think.
Yeah. We usually get the title shifts. We usually get title shifts and then like new loading screens at a bare minimum. But as far as the other stuff, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
from this whole collab, the title screen, I actually listened to the whole song, and it's actually really nice. That was really cool. But then when you actually click start, it's just this barren wasteland of noise, which I kind of support that. As far as that content, I 100% agree with you. We're fighting over rooms for souls.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. We're all just sitting here like tapping our phone real quick. Damn. Tapping real phone. Damn. Yeah. All right, I got in. All right, cool.
Now, on a slightly negative note, they have to figure out their phone capabilities with things, because there's still significant amounts of people that simply cannot play multiplayer. So them locking stuff, like grindable stuff behind multiplayer, really sucks. Like, it's literally not worth trying to grind souls if you do it solo at all. It is not worth your time. You could just be autoing Imperial Guard Commander for 0 effort and probably get about as many souls as you get for just getting honestly, 6. Like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to waste your event orbs on that. You don't want to be running those stages too. Like, it's a lot of time sink to get almost nothing. So I like that rewards are better for multiplayer, but they shouldn't be that crazy significant, and there should be an outlet for doing them like differently. So I don't like that. In regards to old events and like them being exciting, the only time that I thought an event truly did something that like made me excited and really happy was DMC with their Bloody Palace thing.
Yes.
That was just a cool. They gave us a unique like gauntlet style fight that's kind of different than most of our other content. That was pretty challenging, to the point that like half the players that I talked to could not do it and needed someone to like help carry them. And I just thought that was really, really excellent. And I'm hoping that the time trial that we get next week will be really well made, but I do not know. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a big deal when we get the time trial for Nier.
Remind me again. The Bloody Palace. I completely forget. What did we do there
so
again?
Bloody Palace was a stage that you'd load into, and basically it would be waves of fixed enemies, so you knew what each of them was. There was like Hell Executioners that took like it was just really hard to kill them. They were super beefy and could like 2 or 3 shot you because they just hit so hard. And you would just need to fight through waves and waves. I think it wasn't possible to clear it in quicker than like 5 minutes. Most people took like 12, 15, 20 sometimes. And then it had a purple dragon at the end. So it was this like constant respawning of enemies that you needed to fight through, make sure you're compensating for all their resistances and the damage coming at you. And then ultimately beat this boss that would like drain all your MP, put debuffs on you and stuff, and then be able to actually finish out that fight. And like it was somewhat challenging. Like people just couldn't do it. So it was a ton of fun to have that there. And then just kind of
a lot of people complained about not completing.
It was the time thing, right? The time attack?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I didn't even know it was I didn't know it was a time thing. That makes sense though.
For whatever reason, I kept thinking that time thing was something different to the Bloody Palace.
I mean, we've had other time trials, but for DMC specifically, I think it was that. Yeah, for DMC, I think it was that.
That time trial was called Bloody Palace.
I think so.
Okay. All right. I was thinking it was 2 different things.
Okay, yeah. I didn't remember that it was even a time trial, to be quite honest. So
that's why I was like, wait, what are we talking about?
Okay, sorry. That's my bad. So I'm hoping that we get something really, really interesting with this one. I really wish that it would be nice if they gave us some different things to like kill in some of these collabs. Like, imagine if they just spawned in like 20 little robot guys for us to murder. Like, you know, like it's the whole Nier thing. Like, just make one new enemy model or something, and then just like throw them all over the place. Yeah, I just think it'd be really neat. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with the time trial. I hope that it's interesting. Maybe they'll use the Songstress. Maybe they'll do something like when the little like metal you know, the things that come in that you need to kill, maybe you have to kill X amount in order to like take off a barrier or something. I don't know. But you know, if they do it in an interesting way, it'll be really, really cool. But other than that, none of the rest of the event has really been that exciting. I guess there's fishing, right, but we didn't really get a new visual thing for the fishing. Like, some people get really into fishing, and the fact that I think it's just the default spot visually, isn't it? It's just like a normal blue lake. It'd be kind of cool if they gave us a different backdrop or something to work with.
I don't like the new fishing where it's in the sky, which I thought was super cool.
Yeah,
yeah, nothing fancy like that.
I also really like the Nameless Town, or whatever it's called. I love that fishing spot. It's so cool. Yeah, it's all dark, and it's got like I think like lanterns lighting places. It looks beautiful.
Yes, it really does.
This fishing thing doesn't even have a spot, does it? Or is it just like the first area?
It's just a tab.
Yeah, you just access it from the event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's whack.
Yeah. It's also extra annoying because if you back out of it to try to reset your fish like you do with fishing, it takes you to the overmap, like the overworld map, which means I then need to click event and then click Nier and then click the button for it to get back into it. Like,
no way.
Yeah, for real. It kicks you to the world map every time. Yeah, it sucks, man.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, so if you're trying to just get through stuff really quickly, it kind of sucks. But that said, it seems like rates on those fish were pretty okay. Like, I got one of each type pretty quickly.
Yes,
maxing was a little annoying. Like, I got everything maxed pretty quick. I think total of like maybe an hour or less of grinding. It was actually probably closer to like 45 minutes that I had like enough to just upgrade stuff in one of each. But I needed like one top tier fish to get like my final upgrade, and it took me like another hour to get that one specific one. So that was about it. But yeah,
I just went for the iron pipe and was like, all right, I'm done. That's all I need.
Yeah, I just like to max out all the things that I can. Completionist and all that. You never know when some of it might be valuable. But yeah, let's talk about iron pipe, because iron pipe is a huge add to the game, actually. Like, it's legitimately a big deal. And like, anybody that's watching this that doesn't know what to prioritize because you just don't have time to play, iron pipe is huge. So when I first saw this, I didn't think anything of it, because at a glance, I'm so used to seeing things like this that I'm like, oh, another faint plus 50. Okay, we see that all the time. No. This is break plus 50, which then translates to 100 when you're dual wielding. This is a big deal. So, I mean, also crit plus 10% is pretty massive. Like, there's crit. Oh, it's crit damage. Never mind. Never mind. I don't care. Yeah, the crit damage, I don't care. If any endgame build is hitting a crit and that's not capping, like, most non-crits should be capping, so I don't care about that. But break value plus 50% is freaking massive. So you can have Breaker, which gives you, what, plus 100%, right?
Breaker.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think Breaker is plus 100%. Then you get this for a plus 50. You can run Axe High Boost for like an extra 20 or 25, which is pretty minor. It doesn't matter that much. Units with Destroyer get extra as well. I don't know if it's 100% or if it's more. I assume at least another 100%. But being able to just.
On Phoenix Blow, I think. If you did Phoenix Blow, I believe it's another 100%.
Yep. 100% off Phoenix Blow. You can get 120% off of Terror of the Grana Seas. Psycha Guild technically has a little bit of one, but I would just run the other two personally. Right. And then I know Luxeus's UR passive can give your team some break as well. But just on its nose, running Breaker with this spear with Phoenix Blow is like 250 plus, which translates to 500 when you're dual wielding. Like, it's a pretty big deal. So if you just want to make a unit that's really good at breaking, like Zykes is really good at it already. This is also a spear. Tsukasa would love this because he already runs spears anyway. Like, this is a really big thing. We don't have any other weapon that increases break value, right?
Nope.
This is the first. So, like, this is something that will last over time and, like, be a valuable thing in builds to come, even over the next year.
Oh, Breaker is 50%.
Breaker's
The skill is
50%.
50%.
Okay, cool. So
Right,
Breaker's
yeah, I looked it
50%
up.
translates to
Yeah.
100 with dual wield. Cool.
You know who else loved this? Gobble, my boy.
Ya boy Gobble.
He-
Yeah, dude.
He loves this. It's amazing.
I love every time that you need to hype up little Gobble. He's-
Hell yeah! What you
I
mean, bro? I am
think he's
hyped for his buffs. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I hope he gets Destroyer. That would be.
If he, I so hope
He
gets
really
destroyed.
should. I bet they'll just be like, he can have Spear High Boost.
If anything, we're gonna change his name to Chadline Coon.
Oh no,
They're gonna give him a lore tab that specifically talks about Chad Lancoon.
yo!
Yeah.
If they did, that'd be amazing.
That'd be
I
pretty
love
hype.
Gobble so much.
So speaking of things, we're gonna talk on something a little bit somber. You did some grinding on this event because you wanted to do something real special with the LR from this event.
Oh no! Why you do this?
Because the people in chat that watch this, we need to go upvote this complaint in the dev chat for dev
True,
feedback.
Actually, yeah, this is correct. This
So
is correct.
there used to be something you could do where when you would get duplicates of an SSR arc, you could increase your stats on things, and if you had it up to a max amount that you couldn't max it anymore, the little gold background to where it says level 10, it would change to rainbow, and it was like super rare, like nobody had it. Well, eventually they added arc extensions so that we could go and actually increase the amount that we could, teach the skills and things like that, which is a great quality of life thing. But after that, like, there was no way to really rainbow things. We all assumed the way to do it would be to max out one of those things, like actually have all of those different things, which require hundreds of arc dupes or Stardust to do. Well, Jawline saw an interesting opportunity since we can infinitely farm the LR from this, and he did it. So
And how was that, Jawline?
Man, let me tell you. Let me tell you what. The grind to get these damn tickets and then to get the arc to pop up. It was so like that wasn't bad because I had a goal. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get to 220. I'm gonna get this rainbow arc. So that motivated me. I was like, that's not a big deal. I've played grindy games, easy. But so in order to max the arc, you need 220 dupes to extend the stats and to extend the skills to max AP. So I'm over there at 119, and then I record it. I record the moment that I get the stats maxed out and the AP maxed out, and I extend it. I back out. There's no rainbow. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it takes time. Maybe I just gotta go back into the arc, then come back out. So I do that, and then
there's
nothing.
nothing there. Nothing.
No rainbow. Where's my rainbow, Itis?
Silver lining, at least you can really quickly teach those skills that are really good.
Oh, skills I'm never gonna use. Hell yeah.
It'll take you one run, and they learn
So-
everything. It's so easy.
So if you guys don't mind, if you guys are in the LC Discord, I did make a post, and I made a video. I did ask some questions. I was like, hey, is this rainbow system still in place? Does it apply to LRs? What are the requirements for a rainbow? And do Stardust not count? So with me mentioning that, originally I had my arc at 202, so not 220, and I used 18 Stardust to get it to 220. But then I was like, okay, so maybe I do need maybe I actually need arc dupes. So I got it to 220 on top of the Stardust that I used, and nothing. So I made a post in the Discord, in the dev feedback. If any of you guys are in it and wouldn't mind upvoting it, I'd appreciate it because your boy wants his rainbow. It was very heartbreaking.
I mean,
I'm gonna be honest.
just
wondering.
just updating it in general is not a huge deal. But I think that in like having some sort of a symbol for anybody, even if they changed it so it was simpler, like, oh hey, you just have to upgrade all the stats and then like it's there. Obviously it wasted a bunch of your time, but like for other people to go and like update things to just make things look flashy, it'd be cool if they had some different levels to kind of showing off your arcs and how built they are. Like, people have things in other games where, certain things you can do can change, like, your player frame when you're in multiplayer or something. Like, just having little things like that, I think there's opportunities for, and that kind of just plays into that conversation of give us some achievement-based things that let us show off in like multiplayer or on the friend screen or whatever it might be. People eat that shit up. But
yeah, I would definitely do it. I was so confused to see what he was posting in the Discord, constant updates of his little endeavor on upgrading his AP. Like, what is this man doing? She has prisms to go for. Why is he going for that damn arc? And then little did I know, like later, when he's almost there. I'm like, but why?
Little did he know, DK was fully merited in his criticism.
No,
Literally no reason.
Yeah, we were in chat one night. And I was like, why is he doing that? What is it?
Oh man.
But yeah, no, I had no idea that was ever a thing. I mean, I never wanted dupes of Arks back then. I was actually irritated that I got dupes of Arks. But if I'm gonna get a rainbow,
I know a few people have rainbows, but like very, very few people have rainbows.
They had to be rainbowed before a certain period of time.
Yeah, it was a month after. Wow. It was
literally not possible now.
Place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. So, yeah, fun stuff. So, all right. Well, we're at 2 hours, which I think is pretty clean considering we had 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about. So, nice job, you guys, keeping it pretty tight. So, any other closing thoughts before we drop out of here?
If you guys are planning on pulling, my thought is if you already have Bayland or if you have Baron, if you want to have gems in the future, yes, 2B is a collab unit, yes, 2B is waifu, you'll be fine without her if you have Bayland and you buff Bayland, or if you have Baron, you'll be fine. You don't need her. A2, I don't know. I still think even if you don't have a light DPS, I guess it'd be nice to have her, but I wouldn't tell you to get her.
Yeah.
That's just my take. If like I said, if you have Bayland or Baron, you don't need to be. If you want to save your gems and you're free to play, don't pull. If you have a light DPS, even if it's just Alice, it's okay not to get A2.
Yeah.
But if you want to pull just for waifu and collection purposes, that's all on you. But from a conservative standpoint, you don't need either of them.
If you're being smart free to play.
Yeah, if you're being smart free to play, you don't need them.
Yeah. Unless you're fresh, obviously, because 2B, new account, baller.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah. All right. Yeah, I completely agree in every way, shape, and form with that advice. So, good stuff. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for joining me. And until next time, go forth and murder things.
Later, guys.